What is good, good people? You are now listening to another episode of At the Plate with Danny Foxworth. I am your humble narrator, Danny Foxworth, and once again, we're joined by an extremely special return guest. You know him, you love him. He's one half of the Board Meeting podcast. He was actually my first guest on At the Plate. So bringing him back for the umpteenth time, my man Gerard Droze. Gerard, how you doing this evening?
I'm good, man. I'm glad to be here with you. How you been?
Doing well, man. Can't complain over here. So
Good, good.
we actually had you sent me a text message a few days ago,
Hmm.
and you had a great idea for an episode. You were like, have
Yeah.
you ever thought about doing an episode about collecting baseball cards? And if not, would you be interested in doing it? I was like, absolutely. I'd never even thought about doing an episode about
Yeah,
baseball
man.
cards. He was like, if you do, I want in. So here we are. So what was it that prompted you to send me that text to shoot me that idea of doing this for an episode?
Well, this time of year, man, sports in general starts kind of winding down a little bit. And I'm looking at how many days are in between these NBA Finals games, and I'm like, man, there's
Bruh.
nothing but baseball on TV for me to watch right now. So I do have the WNBA League Pass, but man, it's like some days you look up and there's only one game and it starts at 10 p.m.
Yeah,
It's a West Coast game, and I'm just like, well, what am I doing in the meantime? The Braves don't play tonight, so I can't even have that on TV to look at, just kind of keep me occupied. And football, I don't care anything about, mini camp, mandatory or voluntary, so
yeah.
it's like, well, what else is like, it's just baseball, just baseball. And it's like, man, there was a time when like I was really into baseball, like super into baseball. And I still follow now, but I'm not like, I'm not living and dying with 100 and what 62 games.
Yeah.
So it's a passing interest at this point. And then I started remembering the things I really liked, and the early Braves teams when they went from worst to first, and how they could never quite get over the hump in the World Series. And just that process took me back to thinking about collecting cards and how it all got started. And it was like, I've listened to episodes of your podcast and your conversations, and even me and you having like literally being me and you outside of you, you're like the who has any interest in baseball enough to have a conversation about it that I'm willing to engage in, where I feel like I don't sound like I'm just completely out of the loop. So
Yeah.
it made me think about some of the episodes I listened to with you and had conversations we've had. And I don't think baseball cards ever came up, but it was very crucial to the baseball sports growing up experience. So I was like, who else can I get these ideas out with other than my man Danny? So that's why I hit you up.
Right on. And I'm glad you did, man. That was right on time. I was like, I'd never
Yeah.
done that. Hell, let's do it.
Yeah, man.
So
Yeah.
talk about what it was like when you first started getting into collecting baseball cards. Was there anybody that inspired you to start that hobby?
The collecting of baseball cards started off in a weird way, but perfectly aligned with how I grew up. So I remember being in the third grade, and Cabbage Patch Kids were the thing, but then the Garbage Pail Kids cards were a whole
Hmm.
other thing.
Yes.
And, Garbage Pail Kids for today's time, probably tame, but in 86, 87, growing up in a very go to church every Sunday household, it was like, no, that's not what we're doing around here. So you'll probably remember this. I having conversations with you, and you've mentioned going to Bill's store back in the day. I remember what Bill's store was, but it was a little bit further from where we were.
Yeah.
The store where I went to was the Uncle Lawrence store on 176.
Yes.
So we would go there every now and then, and he had the Garbage Pail Kids like sitting on the counter just in packs to buy. And I wanted a pack because that's what was going on at school. And it was like, nah, we're not doing that. But the baseball cards were right next to him. So let me get a pack of baseball cards.
I didn't know he sold
And
baseball cards.
yeah, yeah. I mean, at
Wow.
least in 87, and he was selling the Topps baseball cards because that was my first pack I ever bought. And it was from there, just following the games and learning the players and reading the stats on the back of the card and chewing that stale bubble gum that didn't even have flavor to begin with. and lost all texture after about three chews. That was where it started, and from there, it expanded year after year. They would design the cards differently, and you'd be like, "Oh, I can't wait to see what's coming out this season." Getting all
Hmm.
excited about that, and eventually expanding into basketball, and football cards and stuff like that. So, but yeah, it all started on Uncle Lawrence store at 176,
Wow, that's
just
crazy.
as an alternative to Garbage Pail Kids.
Yeah, it still blows my mind that he sold baseball cards because I've been in there a handful of
Mhm.
times, but I just never saw the baseball cards in
Yeah,
there. So good on you.
yeah,
I have to say
yeah.
my
Hey.
my first foray into collecting baseball cards was actually through my uncle Virgil because he, like you, was
Mhm.
also a Braves fan, and I mean, with
Yeah,
my grandparents and him, I mean, they were diehard Braves fans. I know I said it before in a
yeah.
previous episode. I'd go visit them on the weekends because they lived in Somerville,
Mhm.
and
Right.
yep, and every night at 7:05 after we finished dinner, we'd sit in front of that big back Magnavox and watch the Atlanta Braves on TBS.
That's right. On TBS. That's right.
Yep, and my uncle Virgil, he was into baseball cards, and I mean, he had cards
Mhm.
from like the late '60s, early '70s
Oh
still.
wow.
And
Yeah.
I was like, man, that's cool. And then it
Yeah.
was right around that time I started seeing commercials for Tops.
Mhm.
And I remember came home from school. I might have been in fifth, either fifth or sixth grade. And actually it was sixth grade because it was the 92 edition of the Tops
Mhm.
collection. And they had this competition, they had this basically, well, not really a competition, like a sweepstakes, if you will. And
Mhm.
if you send in like a self-addressed stamped envelope, you could be in the running, and you could not only get that particular year collection of Topps cards. They said the grand prize was, and I'll never forget. It said, "Or you can win the grand prize." All 40 years of Topps. I'm like, I beg your pardon. I
It's
can
gonna take it's
I
gonna
can
take
get
more than a self-addressed envelope to get you all of that.
I sent like eight of them self-addressed stamped envelopes. I was determined to get that win that grand prize, and I did not win anything. But I think that's really what stoked the fire in terms of me
Yeah.
collecting cards and just having a bunch of friends that I went to school with that were also in
Hmm.
collecting baseball cards and stuff. So I'm trying to think what the first card I ever bought was. I'm not exactly sure. I wasn't nearly as far ahead of the game as you were. You buying your first cards in
Well,
'87.
well, I'm a little bit older than you too, so just a couple years difference. But
Yeah.
but yeah, man, I don't it took off from there because I don't remember going back to that store very many times for baseball cards, but somehow it continued. And like, matter of fact, I know a few years later, I think KB Toys in Northwoods Mall had like a sale. Like, I would go buy packs, just
Mm-hmm.
individual packs. But KB Toys had this sale where like they were selling entire boxes for like $10.
Really?
And it was like a dollar a pack normally,
Yeah.
whole box, $10. And I was just
Wow.
like, yeah, I'll take all of that. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, man, I go through, like, even going through some of the cars I have now, I've just reached in my closet and pulled out a few. Like, I got so many duplicates. I've got so many players that like might have played 3 or 4 years in the league and that's it. But yeah, man, it was just going through them takes me back to a different time and just remembering all of the brands. Like, we've been talking about Tops, but they were
Actually, hold that
Fleer.
thought while you bring that up. I'm gonna go get my shoebox.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
All right, continue.
No, as I remember all of the brands and stuff like that. Like, Tops is where we started, but there was Fleer,
Mm-hmm.
Donruss.
Yep.
Uh, the thing I remember probably that was the quote unquote game changer is when Upper Deck came on the scene,
Yep.
and
I
they
got my
had
upper deck binder right here. Still.
them crisp white edges, the
Yes.
glossy finish. I remember the Ken Griffey Jr. card from, like, was it 90, 91? Like, it wasn't even an action shot of him playing. It was just like a headshot with him holding the bat. Like, that was a card like everybody wanted. And that it was impossible to find if you're just buying packs, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Maybe I just didn't have the funds to buy enough packs to find it, but But still, I just remember the hunt, just like never knowing what you're going to get and how many packs you open up and be like, man, I already got this player's card. And then you get that one all of a sudden that is just like, yo, this is special. Like, I never forget. I don't know what significance this player has to baseball, period, in the larger scale of things. But I was so hyped to have a Steve Sachs all-star card.
It's
It's
the
just like,
name.
yeah, but Steve Sachs, like all the years after I've been watching baseball, I don't recall anybody bringing him up as any significance to anything. Like,
Right.
it's the most consecutive games with a hit since Steve Sachs. Like his name don't come up in conversations like that, but I just remember getting that card and it was like, man, this is a rare card. Actuality, it wasn't all that rare, and the player wasn't all that significant either.
Yeah, true. Dodger great Steve Sachs. And you know,
Yes, absolutely.
I actually fooled myself. I wrote Upper Deck on the binder, but these are all scorecards from 92. And while you mentioned Ken Griffey Jr., I got I got Griffey right here.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Man, so
Yeah, I got
what
to go
was
back to my parents' house to get my cards that have any significance.
yeah, I went there yesterday to go up in the attic. I got like a shoebox and a binder. That's like maybe a 32nd of the total amount of cards
Yeah,
that I have. So, do you
yeah.
remember the first baseball card that you ever got?
The first card? No, not I remember buying my first pack. I could not tell you any of the players that were in it, but I do I do have a very good story for you. Because my brother is 5 years younger than me. And of course, younger brother wants to be into same things that, his older brother's into. So he started collecting cards also. And we would occasionally argue over whose cards were whose because we're buying the same brand, same year. But like, no, these are my cards. Like, no, these are my cards. We would argue over that. So my mother had a solution to this problem.
Okay.
So I was the oldest and I was into baseball cards. So my cards remained pristine. He was the younger, more kind of casual collector. So my mom took a red felt tip pen and wrote his initial on all of his cards. Do you know what card she wrote a red letter B on?
Please. Oh
Barry
boy.
Bonds rookie card.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious. You can ask my
Bro.
brother, you can ask my mom. Yeah, if I think that card might still be at the house, and we give her complete agony every single time we bring that up. She wrote in a red felt tip pen, the letter B in the corner on the back of a Barry Bonds rookie card to designate that as his card versus mine. So yeah, yep.
Oh, that
Tops
hurt.
1987, Barry Bonds.
Oh my.
We've
Oh,
looked it
that
up on
hurts me
eBay.
just hearing that.
It's not like it's an extremely valuable card, even in mint condition. You could probably go on eBay and buy it for $20 now, but just the fact that it was Barry Bonds rookie card, it was just like, yeah, we're gonna give you crap for that for a while. You'll never live
Man,
that one down.
that's crazy. So, speaking of which, what's the most sentimental slash or sentimental or most valuable card that you own?
Oh man, is you the valuable part, I couldn't tell you. First of all, it's been years since I looked at a Beckett magazine to
Yeah, you
determine
and
the
me
value
both.
of anything else. But sentimental, if it's baseball, I can't think of one in baseball, but there is a basketball card I had. It was Michael Jordan, and it wasn't even an action shot from a game. It's like him, like in a photo shoot with a white towel over his head. And I want to say it was Upper Deck basketball.
Hmm.
And I had that in a hard case, like a hard plastic, like with screw down the corners case. I
Yeah.
have no idea where it is today. No idea. It could be at my parents' house in the closet. It could have been lost in transition between houses and places, but the most sentimental one I can remember, because I remember it would sit on my dresser against the mirror in this hard plastic case, and it's just Michael Jordan with a white towel over his head from like a photo shoot. I have And at that time, I doubt that it was worth any significant money, but it was a Michael Jordan card and it looked clean. So I was like, yo, this is special to me. I'm putting it in this hard case, but I could not tell you where it is today.
Okay. I have to say, the most valuable one I own
Uh-huh.
is it was actually a card that my Uncle Virgil gave me.
Okay.
It's a 1975 Mike Schmidt Topps card. It's in mint condition.
Wow.
I don't know
Wow.
what the value of it is because just like you alluded to,
Yeah.
I hadn't cracked open a Beckett, gosh, probably since eighth grade. So I'm
Yeah.
curious to see its worth. I'm on eBay and I've seen everything like pre-owned cards from like 7.99 to like I seen one just for like 2 G's. So
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a whole lot of gray area. So
Yeah, it could be anywhere in there. But the thing about it, man, the sentimental value that it has to you, like even if it was like $3,000, would you part with it
no,
for that price?
no,
No, it's sentimental, not only for, how long you've had it, but who gave it to you. So
exactly.
yeah, yeah. So, but let me ask you, this:
Hmm.
Do you? I know you missed amongst corner. You know all the ins and outs. So clearly, you know where Barron's is
Yes.
down by the railroad tracks.
Hmm.
Okay, so if you're step out onto like the sidewalk, like across the street, a little bit further up, closer to the railroad tracks, there's a little store that sits like right next to the railroad tracks.
It's old baseball cards.
They used to sell baseball cards. That store has been like a million different things. I
Yeah.
can probably imagine them all the time. It seemed like one time they sold seeds or something like that. It's been a bunch of different things, but that was one of the places I used to go and get baseball cards also.
Yeah,
And
you and
yeah,
me
it was
both.
yeah. Just remembering that, just closing my eyes and visualizing that place and just going in there and just wall to wall, everywhere you look, just cards and stuff like that. I could go in there and just spend hours,
Yeah.
especially if my mom and my grandmother were in Barron's. It's like it's right across the street. Just,
Hmm.
I can cross the street. Just let me go over there because I don't feel like being followed around by people who are thinking that I'm stealing in
Yeah.
Barron's. I want to go over here and do something that actually interests me and engage me while y'all are over here shopping for whatever. So
Right.
yeah,
Do you remember the name of that card store? Because I can't
I
remember it.
have, I had no idea. Like I said, it's I know it sold cards, and I know it's been about three, four, five, eight different things in the time that I was actually living in the area. But no,
Yeah,
I don't remember.
it's that last building on the left before you cross the railroad track. It's a
That's right.
barbershop. It's a barbershop now.
I'm not surprised.
And it's been a barbershop for a few years now, so
Okay.
we'll see how long it lasts.
Yeah,
Um,
before it's something else.
yeah. I'm just, you know what? I brought my shoebox with me with
Okay.
a slew, I mean a slew of cards.
Yeah.
So dig in here and see what I got. Right off top, Chicago's finest. Oh, Kirby Puckett.
Is it Kirby Puckett?
Yeah.
You bringing up bad memories,
I was
man.
about to
They
say
played
I
the
hate to
Twins in.
peel that I hate to peel that scab. Hashtag we'll see you tomorrow night.
I'm gonna let you have it. It was your show. I pulled this one out just now. Thought you might be interested in a Harold Baines upper deck
Yeah.
when he played with Texas.
Texas. I didn't even realize he played with Texas. I just remember him being playing with the White Sox.
Yep.
Man,
Yep.
and I got
Yeah.
a outfielder for the Reds, Glenn Braggs. I can't remember
I have
which I can't
no
remember
idea who
which
that
he
is.
was married to somebody. He was married to one of the members In Vogue. I can't remember exactly which one it
Really?
was.
I should have known him then. Yeah, you got yours in a shoebox. You remember you would go to the corner store and get the
Rainbow. Dog. I used to sell them rainbows on the back of the bus. Boy, I tell you, you taking me down memory lane. And I'm thumbing through all these
yeah,
cars,
man.
all these people, sorry. Oh, I
Yeah,
got a couple of
all of them.
closers who were big time
Who you
back
got?
in the 90s. My man OG Bobby Thigpen,
Bobby
Chicago
Thigpen.
White
Yeah, he played for
Sox.
the White Sox. Yep,
Yeah, I
I
think he
remember
had
that.
like yeah, he had 57 saves in one season. Crazy. And then my man
But
OG Lee Smith. I think he's probably the first black
Lee Smith.
closer
Yeah.
that I remember. But
Now that. that card you showed was wild to me because I remember the first time I saw like the horizontal cards. They weren't portrait, they were like landscape.
Yeah,
I was like, yo, what is this? How do I put this in my in my collector book when everything is portrait? I have to turn the book sideways to see this.
yeah,
Yeah, those are wild, man.
man. And
Uh,
I
uh,
remember. Now I remember my
Rick
man.
Honeycutt,
Go ahead.
Rick
Ty
Honeycutt.
Van Poppel.
No, Rick Honeycutt.
Rick
I
Honeycutt.
got.
I think he wore number 40 for the A's.
I don't see that on the back of the card.
I'm fairly certain that was his number.
Yeah.
And
And then the action shot of him on the back doesn't have he's got his number covered up. What you
okay.
got?
I think I'll redeem myself since Kirby Puckett was the first card I pulled. It's only right that I redeem myself. I think you'll like this one. My man,
Ron Gant?
Ron Gant.
Yeah. I was about to say, yeah, pull out that Ron Gant.
Yeah,
I
that
rock
man
with
was.
that.
I mean, that man was built like a tank. He was every bit of 5'7", but it didn't even matter. He could knock them jokers
Yeah.
out the park.
I hate that he had that motorcycle accident, man. That messed him up.
Yeah, man. I'm having a good time going down memory lane, just thumbing through these cards, man. I tell you what, there's a lot of sorry ass players though.
For real, for
There's a
real.
lot
Like
of
I'm just
sorry players.
I'm looking at them as like a lot of these names, like I said, all my good cards at my parents' house, a lot of these names I don't even recognize as any significance of any value.
Yeah,
Like I got a couple football cards that are a thing. I got a Bill Belichick card from when he was head coach of the Browns.
man. And you know what? I didn't even realize he was a head coach. I knew he was with the Browns, but I
Right.
thought his capacity was in being an assistant coach. And
Can,
couple
can I
got a
offer
couple of
you
bird.
a
Go ahead.
Jack Del Rio from when he was with the Vikings?
Wow, that's crazy. I completely forgot he was with the Vikings.
Th- That's the thing. Even the players that I recognize were like, "You played for that team?
Yeah,
That's crazy."
got a got a Cal Ripken and
Dope, dope.
fellow controversial Baltimore Oriole Brady Anderson.
Brady Anderson.
Yeah, he took that steroids one year and he's socked like 51 homers that season. They were like,
How
hold on,
off.
let's check his piss because this ain't normal. And come to find out, it was not normal.
It was not normal. It was enhanced.
So, actually, I want to get into the 5 question segment now, and this one is going to be a little
Okay.
different. This one is actually going to be baseball trivia. So,
All right.
first question: Which was the first? Who was the first official MLB mascot? Was it A, Mr. Red, B, Philly Fanatic, C, Mr. Met, or D, the Oriole Bird?
See, I feel like this is a trick question because I want to say the Philly Fanatic, but for the oldest, I can't imagine it's something complicated or involved. So I'm gonna say the Oriole Bird.
Correct answer is Mr. Met.
God.
The Mr. Met, the mascot of the New York Mets, is a baseball-headed Mets uniform-wearing humanoid who debuted in 1964.
So Mr. Met is the first baseball mascot,
Correct. Well, the first official MLB mascot.
MLB mascot. Okay.
Question number 2. Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City is the only MLB stadium named after a person.
True or false?
Right.
Baseball stadium named after a person. The first or only?
The
Currently?
only.
Because some reason I got Joe Robbie Stadium in my head. And I think that was San Diego. San Diego. So I'm gonna say false.
You'd be correct. It's the only American League stadium named after a person, but the National League got Wrigley Field.
Right.
And actually, you were right. I didn't want to say it, but San Diego, it's actually Jack Murphy Stadium.
Jack Murphy Stadium.
Joe
Okay.
Robbie is in Miami.
Joe Robbie's in Miami. That's right. Okay.
But hey,
I knew that name came to mind.
but you got it right.
Yeah.
Um,
And I don't even think that was baseball. That might have been football. But
Well,
the
the
Marlins,
Marlins,
the
the
Marlins played
Marlins
there
when they
when they first
first
started.
when they were an expansion
Yeah,
team, they played at Joe Robbie.
that's
Then
right.
let's see. All right, question number 3. Which team stadium has the smallest seating capacity? A, the Pittsburgh Pirates, B, the Colorado Rockies, C, the San Francisco Giants, or D, the Tampa Bay Rays?
And the answer I was going to give is none of those. I was going to say Wrigley, but uh, so what? Rays, Rockies. What were the other two?
Rays, Rockies, Giants, and Pirates.
Currently.
Right.
Uh, you know what? Here's how I'm gonna break it down. I'm gonna say Pittsburgh because almost the entire outfield is a view of that bridge. So that's what I'm going with. I'm saying Pittsburgh's the smallest.
The answer is D, the Tampa Bay Rays. Tropicana Field in St.
Really?
Petersburg, Florida seats only 31,042 fans.
In that big old warehouse, they got the smallest stadium?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And it is easily the worst stadium I've ever watched a baseball game.
Oh, so you've actually been.
Yeah.
Okay.
Question number 4. Pitcher Oral Hershiser broke the record for consecutive scoreless innings with how many? A, 45, B, 49, C, 59, D, 63.
I have no basis for this, but I'm saying 49.
Correct answer is C, 59.
59. I figured.
While playing with the LA Dodgers in 1988, Hershiser pitched from August 30th to September 28th without allowing a run. He helped lead the Dodgers to a World Series championship later that year.
Yeah.
And last question. What is the full name of Cy Young Award winner CC Sabathia? Is it A, Karsten Charles? Is it B, Carlos Cameron? Is it C, Connor Christian? Or is it D, Christopher Cody?
Is A.
Boom.
Yeah, I knew
You got
that
it.
one.
You
I don't know
got it.
why I knew that one, but I knew it.
Karsten Charles Sabathia, oh, he's a junior. Did not know that. Won the Cy Young Award in 2007 while playing with the Cleveland Indians, becoming the second Cleveland pitcher after Gaylord Perry to win the award. So, yeah, that's the 5 questions segment. So, in closing, is there anything else you want to plug or promote? The floor is yours.
No, man, just I have a website, GerardDroze.com. Anybody wants to contact me, see what I'm doing online, you can go there. That's where my socials are, any things that I'm working on, particularly my Substack, Authentic Cadence. This is where I share R&B music that's new every week, or every week that I discover or listen to new music. So I share it there. But yeah, other than that, man, I'm gonna be sitting here probably the rest of the evening going through these baseball cards and discovering things such as a Steve Kerr card from when he played with
Wow.
the Cleveland Cavaliers.
I didn't know he played with the Cavs either. I'm learning some things tonight.
Yep.
So, gee, thank you again for being on, man. This is cool going down memory lane.
Yeah, man, I had a lot of fun. Like I said, I'm gonna be sitting here flipping through cards for probably the rest of the evening while the finals are on.
And thank y'all for listening. Make sure you like, download, or subscribe to At the Plate with Danny Foxworth. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can find it at Danny Foxworth 843. There you can find the videos for every episode of this podcast, as well as my other podcast, Since We Last Spoke with Danny Foxworth, my Candle podcast, A Wicked Good Time with Danny Foxworth, and Growing Up Low Country with Liz and Danny. And for Gerard and myself, this has been another episode of At the Plate with Danny Foxworth. And until next time, y'all be good. 3 strikes.